Welcome back to Definitely Not Definitive. I'm Ken.
And I'm Bethany.
And we're just a couple of kooky, crazy kids in love that love doing some reaction videos together.
Yes, we do.
This is Bucky. He's got his poop emoji.
Yes.
And he's ready to learn some more about Digimon.
Yeah.
So he's checked out our first Digimon content with Storytime Stranger. And now we're checking out the history of Digimon. Digital monsters, definitely not a Pokemon ripoff. So this is one of the videos that has been suggested to us to learn more about Digimon from our community. And we had to react to this one because we're definitely not definitive. So it's definitely not Pokemon ripoff. So it seemed perfect. Yeah. Perfect fit. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. This is Oliver.
Yeah.
Olivermon and Buckymon.
Yeah.
Digimon is a multimedia franchise created in Japan by Bandai in 1997 that began with an electronic pocket-sized virtual pet toy that quickly evolved to encompass television, movies, video games, and more. The name Digimon is a portmanteau of digital monsters, frequently compared to a similar but more popular franchise called Pokemon, which is a portmanteau of pocket monsters. Digimon is an expansive franchise that touches pretty much every corner of licensed merchandise possible. There's nearly 30 years of storytelling across television, movies, comics, magazines, and as part of the toys themselves, there's too many things. This video isn't going to cover all of that. Instead, we're going to focus on the initial creation of the franchise, its arrival in the US, and its emergence as a worldwide pop culture phenomenon that persists through today. It all began when the climate went completely out of control, the rainforest dried out, and other places got totally flooded with oceans like chocolate sauce. And get this, cities, which were normally blazing hot in the summer, got super cold. A boy named Ty is at summer camp in the middle of July when snow begins to fall. Ty and his friends Sora, Matt, Izzy, Mimi, TK, and Joe are overcome by a blizzard accompanied by a light show similar to the Aurora Borealis. Suddenly, fireballs crash to Earth in front of them, or rather what they thought were meteors turns out to be 7 pocket-sized digital devices, Digivices, one for each of them. The 7 kids are swept into a rift, a bridge between realities, plunged into a digital world, a Digiworld, where they meet a bunch of strange creatures who seem to be anticipating their arrival. Turns out the Digivices they picked up in the real world correspond to their new partners in the Digiworld. They are digital monsters. They are Digimon. When the kids try to run from a vicious wild Digimon, all the good Digimon choose instead to stand and fight. Digitally evolving, digivolving from their training forms to their rookie forms, each with new powers that, when combined together as a team, are enough to win the battle. But victory comes with a harsh realization. Battles in the Digiworld, or any world, aren't a competition. They're for survival. And if you die in the Digiworld, you die in the real world.
It's like the Matrix.
Okay.
Thank you. In November 1996, Bandai released the Tamagotchi in Japan. The name Tamagotchi is a portmanteau of the Japanese word for egg, tamago, and the English word watch. Tamagotchi are egg watches. It was an egg-shaped housing for an LCD screen with 3 small buttons. The screen displayed the various creatures that could be raised, their hunger level, their happiness, and their degree of training. You could easily see the virtual pet's age and weight. You gotta feed your pet, play with it, teach it discipline, and clean up its poop. How you care for your Tamagotchi
in the digital world?
What kind of a creature it grows up to become,
digital
or
poop?
if it grows up at all, because neglect will result in a dead Tamagotchi. Press the A and C buttons to reboot life.
Not like this.
The original concept was created by Akihiro Yokoi. Yokoi worked for Bandai from 1977 to 1987 before founding his own toy development company called Wiz. According to reports, in 1995, he presented the idea for Tamagotchi to Bandai as inspired by a commercial that featured a child attempting to travel with his pet turtle. Part fashion, part game, part child-rearing behavioral social experiment, Tamagotchi was further developed at Bandai by Aki Maita. She was integral in the refinement with respect to color, size, shape, art style, and portability as determined by direct input from teenage girls. And it sold well. Well over 400,000 units in 1996. While there were definitely boys interested in the Tamagotchi, Bandai made the choice to develop an additional product that was more closely attuned to boys' interests. They believed that a boy's portable electronic pet needed a greater purpose than the joy and fulfillment of nurturing growth. And that purpose was combat supremacy.
Yeah.
Initially operating under the name Otokochi, a portmanteau of the Japanese word for male, otoko, and the English word watch, that evolved into Capsulsaurus, a name inspired by quarter machines that dispense plastic eggs with a variety of toys inside that can be found almost anywhere from malls to airports to convenience stores. But Capsulsaurus as a brand never made it past the conceptual stage because there were other companies developing similar toys with similar names and concepts. In fact, 9 months before Tamagotchi released in Japan, Pokemon Red and Green were released for the Nintendo Game Boy. See, Long before it was called Pokemon, it was called Capumon, a portmanteau of capsule monsters. When the creators were unable to copyright the name with the word capsule, they came up with alternatives and settled on the fully original word, mashing together pocket and monsters. For the same reasons, Bandai changed the name of their new toy. Like Pokemon, their solution came from the function of the device and helped inform the narrative of the world the character inhabited and where the battles took place. Digital was cool and futuristic and, like Pocket, mashed together with monsters to form Digimon.
Bobby Newport.
Like the Tamagotchi, Digimon handheld units had a small LCD screen displaying the owner's virtual pet and their current status. 3 buttons allowed the user to perform the various functions, including feeding, training, cleaning up poop, and battling against another Digimon device. That's the whole
necessary
point of raising and training your Digimon. Glory in combat. 2 devices could be linked together once both Digimon creatures reached a certain stage of development. In Japan, Digimon can die. In the US, they were merely sent back to the mainframe. Despite being credited to Akiyoshi Hongo, the stories, the characters, and the world of Digimon were a collaborative effort. See, Akiyoshi Hongo isn't a person, it's a portmanteau of 3 individual names. Aki Maita of Bandai, one of the co-developers of the original Tamagotchi, as previously mentioned, Hiroshi Izawa, the creator of the first Digimon comic, and Takeishi Hongo, director of marketing for Bandai. Tamagotchi made its way to the US in May of 1997, amplifying its pop culture impact to the tune of 10 million units worldwide by July of 1997. Digimon was hot on its heels, released in Japan in June and in the US in December, just in time for Christmas. Digimon wasn't the immediate hit that Tamagotchi was. It took additional versions and a wider marketing campaign before it gained traction, both helped and hampered by the rising popularity of Pokemon, which didn't have a comparable toy, but had already sold 1 million units for the Nintendo Game Boy.
This was their ad campaign that made him blow up? Okay.
振って対戦ニューバトルデジモンペンデュラムモンスター合体もできるよ
Flawless. No
In
notes.
September of 1998, the Pokemon animated series began airing in syndication in the US. In February of 1999, it joined Kids WB on Saturday mornings. 6 months later, in August of 1999, Digimon Adventure began airing on Fox Kids. Digimon Adventure was originally produced by Toei Animation, then licensed and adapted for the US television market by Saban Entertainment. That's the same Saban Entertainment that had successfully adapted the Japanese Super Sentai series Zyuranger into the billion-dollar Mighty Morphin Power Rangers franchise in the US in 1993. And they didn't stop with Power Rangers. Adapting Japanese properties for the US market was standard practice for Saban by 1999. Other adaptations included VR Troopers, Masked Rider, Big Bad Beetleborgs, Eagle Riders, and Technoman. It is also likely that Saban recognized the power of drafting on the popularity of Pokemania in the US. Like Transformers and GoBots in the 80s, there was money to be made in market confusion.
Take this display of an object that is shaped like a mouse. Take these letters. Take this portrait of a single clown.
As often happens with adaptations, some elements were removed from the original Japanese series to clarify action, to reduce violence, or to eliminate cultural references that wouldn't make sense to the American audience. Names were changed and it got a completely new musical score. 54 episodes aired between August of 1999 and June of 2000. In October, Digimon the Movie was a box office success, bringing in nearly $17 million against a budget of $5 million despite negative reviews. Those reviews likely rooted in the fact that Digimon the Movie was a portmanteau of 3 short films produced independent of each other in Japan, assembled, re-edited, and recast for the US audience.
Oh, wow.
2 more seasons of Digimon on television followed, including adaptations of 50 episodes of Digimon Adventure 2 and 51 episodes of Digimon Tamers, ending in June of 2002, all under the banner of Digimon Digital Monsters. By the end of that run, Digimon's television adventures belonged to Disney.
Bobby Newport.
In July of 2001, Walt Disney purchased Saban Entertainment, including the rights to all the series they produced, which allowed Disney to run Digimon on ABC Family beginning in March of 2002. The next new series, Digimon Frontier, landed on the Disney block of programming on UPN. Disney adapted Digimon Data Squad in 2007 and then exited the Digimon business. Then, in 2012, somehow, Saban returned.
Nice job, team.
In 2012, Saban reacquired the rights to Digimon from Disney and immediately jumped back into adapting Japanese Digimon productions, beginning with Digimon Cross Wars, aka Digimon Fusion in the US. 54 episodes were broadcast between September 2013 and August 2015 on Nickelodeon, at which time Saban exited the Digimon business. Where Pokemon went, so went Digimon. Pokemon began as a video game on the Nintendo Game Boy. It was only a matter of time before the handheld electronic combat of Digimon found its way to one of Nintendo's competitors. Digimon World launched on the PlayStation in the US in 2000. Digimon World 2 hit in 2001, Part 3 in 2002, Part 4 in 2005. Bandai continued to produce games for the Japanese market, but the US would have to wait until Digimon World Next Order International Edition in 2017 on the PS4 for more console-based action. Digimon action figures in various scales with various play features were released between 1999 and 2004 by Bandai. Non-posable PVC figures, deluxe playsets, Digivolving, Digimon with skateboards, Digimon tops, electronic talking Digimon, and more. Digimon is almost 30 years old and as such has had several stretches where it has nearly faded from the pop culture landscape, at least in the US. But Bandai is still producing new Digimon games and animation. 67 episodes of Digimon Ghost Game aired in Japan from October of 2021 through March of last year, 2023. A new movie, Digimon Adventure 2, The Beginning, was released in Japan in October of 2023, followed shortly after by an English dub starring Johnny Young Bosch as TK, and a premiere in select US theaters in November. The feisty younger brother of Tamagotchi, to this day, Digimon suffers the stigma of being perceived as not Pokemon or the other Pokemon. In a poll taken of my living room, 50% of respondents thought Digimon was a character in Pokemon. Stupid internet arguments are waged 24 hours a day over brand supremacy born from which came first, the Squirtle or the egg. Which brand is the original and which is the copy because they're too similar, so one must have ripped off the other. The reality is that sometimes these things happen at the same time.
Kind of what you were talking about.
Multiple creators experience simultaneous independent inspiration based on similar life experiences or motivated by similar pop culture factors. Lots of kids go through a phase where they collect bugs. It was only a matter of time before that activity was made into a game. Bandai and Nintendo took different routes and arrived at similar destinations. Hard to say what might have been if Pokemon and Digimon arrived in the US at the same time instead of Pokemon having a head start. Hard to say what might have been if Tamagotchi and Digimon were a single unisex toy instead of dividing their audience by gender-associated marketing criteria. Even with all that working against it, it's still one of Bandai's top brands, guaranteeing that it will survive long into the future, nurtured with love and affection, trained from birth to fight, and evolving into and beyond the digital world. The Digiworld.
Oh, I love that they kept it in though.
Yeah. Good.
Thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, if you'd like early access to the videos ad-free, as well as behind-the-scenes features, sneak peeks at upcoming projects, and exclusive podcast about the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy and let us know in the comments down below if you're a fan of Pokemon or Digimon. Better yet, let us know if you ever owned a Tamagotchi or a Digimon unit. As part of this research, I was wondering if there was possibly a Tamagotchi that was still alive after 30 years after its introduction. Is it possible that someone was so dedicated to raising their digital pet that they kept it going all this time? 30 years worth of digital poop. But the answer, which should have been obvious, is no. Tamagotchi batteries only lasted at best a month, and when you change the batteries, you reset the device. The harsh reality of life and death in the digital age.
So great job on that video. I love that. And like you said, they kept the outtake in there.
Yeah.
That was good. And yeah, okay, so this is like just what I was looking for, like as far as just like a brief little history of Digimon, like how it came to be, and all forming from like, you know, kind of poetic from like a little egg birthed all this Digimon universe.
That's right. You had like no sisters. None of your friends ever had like a Tamagotchi?
No.
I remember Tamagotchis.
I don't remember Tamagotchi at all.
Oh, I had a Tamagotchi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just funny to like hear how Digimon essentially came from Tamagotchi, because I had a Tamagotchi when I was a kid. I did not keep it alive for very long, I'm ashamed to say. Because I had like real dogs. And so like it was cute when, you know, my dogs were sleeping, but then my real dogs wanted to play, and so I kind of neglected the Tamagotchi. Digimon is something that I don't think I even heard of until many years later when I was babysitting, and somebody, like one of the kids I was babysitting, was talking about Digimon. But it's funny to think that essentially that evolved from Tamagotchis, and they had like first iteration Digimon was essentially like the boys Tamagotchi.
Yeah, and I probably at one point would have thought that like Digimon was like in the Pokemon world or whatever, and like a character in Pokemon. There's a time when I thought Digimon was just like still in the Pokemon world, but like in the digital world of Pokemon that they were doing. So not realizing that it was like its own separate franchise. I kind of talked about that in the first Digimon reaction that we did on this channel. So now that we got like the history of like how it kind of all started, now it's kind of like I want to know more about like the characters within it. I mean, they got a Sora, and Kingdom Hearts is one of my favorite games. So
Yeah. It is cool that it started with essentially like a summer day struck by a blizzard, struck by these 7 digital things that come down to these kids. The like adult in me goes like, that feels like such a hard premise to sell. Like it's very far-fetched. And yet the kid in me goes like, no, but you freaking love that. You love thinking that you could be the kid who climbed a tree on a summer day and all of a sudden like this happens and suddenly you're chosen. You have the thing. So yeah, I don't know.
You have the Tamagotchi.
Exactly. And so I enjoyed that origin, and yeah, I would be curious to dive now more I guess more in depth into the lore, the characters, the world, now that we kind of have this set up.
One of the things I thought it would have been interesting to include in the video is like he talked about how Digimon like at certain points had almost like gone away, and like at least in the US, and like had like lost like popularity. It was like it might actually die. And like if you like say like which event or whatever like kind of sparked it again to like, you know, pick back up and gain steam again, what would, you know, so kind of be interested in that.
Yeah. I'd also be cool if during those times when Digimon lost steam, was Pokemon losing steam at all? I feel like Pokemon has never really lost steam. And so I feel like if anything, Digimon's just maybe been overshadowed by Pokemon at various points, which has made it dip. But I don't know that that's true. That's just kind of how it feels.
Let us know your thoughts about this down below in the comments. And thanks so much for seeing our reaction for the history of Digimon. Digital Monster is definitely not a Pokemon ripoff, but just keep in mind
that our reaction is definitely not definitive.
I know. Now we're done.